Russell Andrews. I was born in a place called Momri, and I've been living in Malmesbury. I've been working in Malmesbury and in the Swartland area, and I currently live in Atlantis with my wife, and we only have one child left at home. Two of them are in the Middle East. So yeah, my partner Francis, we met each other about a year ago, and on our first meeting, I'm sure he felt the same. I didn't know what was going to come out of this and where are we going with this. I had some expectations of what I thought this would be like. Firstly, because I've been in contact with Symphonia and with Partners for Possibility. I've had attended sessions. I went to a summit in Bloemfontein 1 year, and I was speaking there about the challenges our schools have. And I was mentioning and listing a lot of things, and after I was talking, or after my session or my speech, I looked at Twitter, because they were encouraging us to look at Twitter, and Louise van Rijn has tweeted a lot of stuff to the head of education and to the minister in the Western Cape. Why is the school not being looked after? And I was quite embarrassed, but I shared what I felt was needed to be shared with the schools there in that conference in Bloemfontein. Anyway, I've been at Kerria Primary School for the past 5 years, and we've been working hard. Our school is 34 years old this year, and I had some good predecessors in terms of teaching staff, in terms of principals, who developed that school into where it is today. And yes, getting into the partnership thing, I wasn't sure what exactly do we want, because at Kerria Primary School we recently got a school hall, we got a sports field which was donated, we got 6 million rands worth of computer technology in our school. We've got a choir that is participating on national TV, and so we can go on and on. Last Saturday our under 13 or under 12 soccer boys won a Ability tournament. They rather not won, they came second. They didn't win the final, they won the semi-final. But anyway, there's achievements. Our choir is active. We've been asked to perform at different events. So last year when we started out, and we were asked to think about, what would you want out of a partnership like this? And like somebody mentioned earlier, when we had initial meetings with Selvin and his team, somebody said in that meeting, if the business partner can't give me money, then I'm not interested. Now that is a bit of a short-sighted view, because I believe in the philosophy of that we are lifelong learners, and the fact that the business partner did not come in as a mentor, but as a partner, as a sounding board, was what impressed me. But definitely, one of the things that I learned when I was in business is branding is very important, and that is why you will see over there our school's logo is prominent wherever we go. Die manne spot vir my, I sê, jy ken seker nie jou naam nie. Hoekom moet jy met jou naam hier loop? But it's also a form of branding, telling people where I come from, what I represent. And yes, I had expectations. I wanted to partner with someone to assist our school in achieving our vision of developing learners that would not only be satisfied with, okay, I'm never going to make it out in this world, so I'll go out and just hang around. I'll go and join a gang. I'll not do anything, be a burden to my parents. So I needed, or I wanted to have somebody to talk to chat around, and to have dialogue with around issues of achieving our vision. My expectation was also to learn from my partner through engagements. I wanted to gain insight into business perspectives around dealings with staff and clients, because we also have clients in the school setup. Our parents, our learners are our clients. And that was very important for me. Then I also wanted to be exposed to good practices for personal development as a manager and leader. And when I was looking at Francis's credentials, I thought, oh, well, this is a thinker, philosopher, deep man, didn't talk much, but when he started talking, and when he came into my office at times, I have a whiteboard in my office, and he always grabbed the pen, and then he started writing. And by the end of his visit, that whiteboard is full of writing. Now, I should have actually showed you, because I take photos of that and use that as reference afterwards. So that is his way of creating and sharing with me. Then also, I wanted to engage with my partner around practical ideas of how to achieve the vision. And at the moment, I'm subtly allowing my colleagues to implement my learnings that I got from Time to Think. We're starting to employ the skills that we acquired in terms of contracting, as you have heard many people mention earlier. And in the next phase of our plan, we will be utilizing our community building skills, as you will see as we go on. Our engagements and our activities, we had a long range, or how do you call it, long distance relationship. Because Francis being part of Green Cape but not being based in Atlantis, we had to chat over the phone, WhatsApp, and he was the one diligently typing out dates onto our Google calendars. And sometimes we had to stop and to say, look, we can't make it. I'm busy on this side, you're busy on that side. But we met quite regularly, not every 6 weeks, but we met quite regularly. But on the pardon. 2 weeks. Not every 2 weeks. Sorry, not every 2 weeks. Anyway, okay, and we had discussions around what happens at our school, how we engage with all the relevant stakeholders and the partners. And I also got more details around the operations of Green Cape and the specific project that they are driving in Atlantis. I was at the launch of this project when our president opened up this whole new project that they're busy with. And then we started looking at specifics for action plans, what we wanted to prioritize. And we had quite a few sessions revolving around time management, because I was always complaining, I don't have enough time. There's so many things I need to do. There's so many things that my school is involved in. And I'm getting scared that I'm overburdening my staff, because I try to encourage them, motivate them to involve our kids in different activities, the choir, the drama, the karate, the soccer, the netball, the rugby, athletics, everything. So that was, or that still is at this stage, something that I'm still struggling with. We are at a point where we started talking about prioritizing. Then our plan, we want to improve parental engagement at our school. Somebody else mentioned it earlier, I think it's Tandeka. Parental involvement, and parental involvement in a positive sense. Because many a times we get parents who only wait for a negative something to happen before they approach the school. They never think about the staff giving their everything, giving all hours, working until late at night, working over weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, and still they have to continue with teaching and planning and doing everything that the department expects. So we really have a need to have more parental engagement and involvement in our school. Then we want to further develop the leadership and the staff of our school in order to achieve greater measures of success for our learners. And we would like to do that through engaging with staff around issues such as cooperation, time management, sharing our skills, that we have acquired through the PFP workshops. And we want to develop greater environmental awareness at our school and in our community through a project of the introduction of solar power. So Christine, don't run away. We will be contacting you soon. And then also working on a recycling program. What we sometimes do is we collect all the books that the learners have used at the end of the year, and we put it in a cage there, and at the end of the day somebody comes and he collects it, and we get 5 Rand for it, and then it stops there. But we are busy working, Francis and I, and also all of the network that he has around him, to work on a recycling program for our school. And then we want to proactively address the challenge of bullying and discipline, which is starting to surface, as you know, not only at our school but also at quite many schools. And there is this thing of parents seeing everything as bullying nowadays. Sometimes it's not really bullying, but the parent comes in a rush and says, my kind word geboelie elke dag hier by die skool, en dit gebeur en daai gebeur. But when you investigate, it's not always the case. So we would like to sort of get our parents to understand what bullying is all about, and what can be done, what measures can be put in place, and also to understand that there are certain programs that can be followed in terms of that. The way forward, our plans are starting to take shape. My hope is that our partnership will continue even after the program has officially come to an end. And we had a discussion at our last triad with Meredy, and it seems as if Francis is still eager to be part of Atlantis and part of Kerria Primary School. I have been exposed to a lot of new learnings through my partnership with Francis, but also through the training sessions facilitated by Partners for Possibilities in the form of the Time to Think, the Flawless Consulting, Community Building. And we intend to keep on implementing these learnings to grow our school. I also need to say thank you to Meredy for her patience in working with Francis and myself, and for guiding us, and sometimes having to beg for us to, or for me rather, to submit what needs to be submitted. And then PFP, Symphonia, Selvin, and all the staff of Symphonia. You've made an impact in our schools through this program, and I want to thank everyone involved for making this possible. In terms of our planning, just shortly, we've got an engagement with the staff of our school in October. Then we will have a psychologist, Dr. Brenda Matthews, coming in to do a survey in our school in terms of the bullying project. And in the new year, in 2020, early 2020, we will then have a gathering of parents so that we can use the data that we have collected, and together with having buy-in from our staff members and our governing body, start a program of getting our parents involved in our school, getting them to see the school as something more than just a place where I send my child to be looked after during the day. So yes, I think once again, branding. Our school's motto is Scientia Liberat, knowledge brings freedom, kennis maak vry, inkululeko yolwazi. And that is what we're trying to do. That is what we're trying to give to our learners, their dreams, their hopes to achieve something in the future of this country and even in the world. Yeah, I think that's my part of the story, Francis.
Yeah, thanks, Russell. So just to introduce who am I, I'll start with a little story. But when I was as old as my oldest son is now, growing up on Clandassenburg Road in the Camp Hill community there, my birthday I was given a bicycle, and one night the bicycle was stolen, and my mother jumped in the car with her friend and they raced down Clandassenburg Road and they found the two guys and they put their headlights on bright and they charged at them with the car and they dropped the bikes and we got the bike back. And a happy ending to the story. However, I also had a friend who lived in Atlantis. And he didn't get a bike for his birthday. He found the parts for a bike and he put one together himself. And he used to ride the 10 kilometers to come and spend weekends with us. And on one of those rides, he was stabbed for the bicycle. And he survived. He survived. He went on to go and live and work in Germany and came back. And for his 50th birthday, we saw each other again after many years apart. And his mother there was my mother's friend. And they together founded the Orion organization in 1982 in Atlantis. So for me, having gone and studied in Canada, New Zealand, worked around the world and come back here, it was a sort of a homecoming, and I'd hoped to I guess, respond to what I'd learned about my privilege through my friendship with Jonathan Uzendorp. And so coming and joining the school was an opportunity for that as well. So I've been working with Green Cape as the project executive for the Atlantis Special Economic Zone. And some of you here in this room will be familiar with some of the programs we've been doing, the Akamva Youth Program for Matrix, the Atlantis Renewable Energy Challenge, and congratulations to Westfleur for taking all the top categories. And also I'm really pleased to see a few of the representatives of the education and youth sector here from the Atlantis SEZ's Community Stakeholder Network, Michelle and Shirley. It's nice to see you here. So yeah, tempting for me to come into this program and think, right, so the objective here is to bring some management principles and sort out issues in the school. But actually I came to a school that was remarkable in many ways, and I met Russell, who's remarkable in many ways, and a really high-functioning leader already. What struck me is actually, and we'll get to some of the work there, Russell's the most hands-on leader I think I've come across, and that meant that when we got to the list of things to do, it was also this long, and I don't know if Russell ever sleeps. So as he mentioned, some of what we worked on was prioritizing. So it turned out to be a real journey for me as well, and some of the value of that was the thinking partner aspect, and also through the sessions we were doing on community building, a lot of my approach to how we engage with what communities' needs are shifted. I'd always had an uncomfortable sense of this term buy-in for so many reasons, and the reasons were articulated for me in the community building work where actually it was clear that there's no such thing as an effective program that you bring and tell community to buy into, of course. And so I've discarded that word from my vocabulary entirely, and we look to co-create things by actually asking, and you start there. So working together, this is a tree planting we did together with, it was one of the engagements where my company and Kerria spent much time together. And I think not all the trees have survived given the drought and so on, but that's how things go. And we've had some practical things we've been working on with regards to what Green Cape brings in that space, which is green economy expertise. But also, I wanted to share that one of the most surprising values for me was this community of practice. So coming into a group of business leaders in Atlantis and school principals brought me and my understanding closer to Atlantis as a community. And also, in terms of business networks as well, and being able to spend time with Danny and get to understand really a better perspective or a more in-depth perspective of community issues. That kind of thing really enriched my work. So yeah, that was a huge part of the value to me. So I've just included this slide here regarding our work and how Russell shared a lot of the plan we've been going through, and some of the, there were some of the practical management aspects, and time management definitely one of them, and I think Russell has 70 committees in the school, which is clearly unworkable, and we started trying to tackle whether there's things we can do about that. And the particular intervention we've been structuring here tries to bring together many of the aspects. So the concerns around bullying and the concerns around parental engagement. And Russell has shared his observation that there's a difference between his staff and those who consider work to be a calling and those who consider work to be something you do between 9 to 4, 4 o'clock. And so the purpose-driven work aspect. So the starting off with the team dialogue with the staff will start to bring together those aspects with the staff, and then we'll be able to shape and structure the community building workshop on the theme of bullying, which will bring in more parental engagement. So that's the rationale behind that. To close, I wanted to observe that many of the things we engage with in the learning aspect of the Partners for Possibility program, the time to think, the flawless consulting and community building, the common thread in all of those is not the tools and the practices and the specifics so much as that they all address how we engage and connect to each other as human beings. And I think if I follow that thread to some of the values that it's had for me and for Russell, and to observe that when you're leaders in your organization, whether you're a principal or a business leader, it can be lonely at the top. And what if actually all you need sometimes is someone to think with and someone to talk to. Thanks.